The Detroit Jazz Festival, one of my favorite events of the year, returns to downtown Detroit over the Labor Day weekend. This is the 47th year for the world's largest free jazz festival, which, as always, will take place at Hart Plaza. There are additional performances scheduled at the Gretchen C. Valet Jazz Center at Wayne State University. Here to talk about the changes for this year's event, as well as the lineup, is Chris Collins. He's president and artistic director of the Detroit Jazz Festival Foundation. He's joined by one of the performers, Sequoia Snyder, also known as REDWOOD, and Jocelyn Lewis, who goes as Joe Lewis. She is this year's poster artist. Welcome, all three of you, to American Black Journal.
Thanks, Stephen. Great to be here, as always.
This is my favorite show of the year, and I probably shouldn't say that because I'm supposed to love all the shows equally, but I do love this one just a little more. It's always great to see you in the studio, Chris.
Thank you, man.
Let's start by talking about what's different about this year's festival and what people can expect.
Yeah, well, somewhat. We're going old school a little bit. We are consolidating the three outside stages, as I think most people know, on Hart Plaza. We have a great new footprint, expanded real estate, so the capacities will stay the same, the stages will stay the same, experience for artists and patrons, but we've done some amazing things. Our production team packs a house with sound and engineering beautiful stages. The new stage, which is overlooking the river, is just going to be a spectacular environment, and maintaining the intimacy of each stage, even in a large setting, which is some really tough technical backflips.
That's pretty hard, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. But it's worth doing because it's jazz. You know?
Yeah. Who are the headliners that people should be looking out for, other than REDWOOD?
I was going to say, the beauty is it's the way I've always looked at music. Everyone's a headliner.
Yes.
I mean, there are aspiring artists that have established themselves to a degree, and they're on their way to a new place, and Sequoia is a great example of that. There are legendary artists, the great Ron Carter and Dee Dee Bridgewater, Kurt Elling with the Yellow Jackets.
Yeah.
Kurt wrote incredible lyrics to like Joe Zawinul tunes. It's happening. And of course, our artist in residence, the great Joe Lovano, who plays on opening night with his Paramount Band with Julian Lodge. And before that, opening the festival, will be Shannon Powell will lead our youth in a traditional New Orleans thing, and then we have Electric Miles, which is a bunch of alums from Miles Past groups celebrating the 100 years of Miles, and of course we'll do something for Coltrane with our artist residence at the end. But it's a plethora of established artists and new aspiring artists, and then those from our youth programs, J.C. Hurd Jazz Week All-Stars and the competition winners from our youth jazz vocal competition, Collegiate Combo. So it's a taste for everyone, and they wouldn't be there unless they were special.
Yeah. I kind of think of the festival as a celebration of jazz, of course, but it's also a celebration of our place, Detroit's place in the jazz world, and it reflects that every year. It's like us kind of showing off a bit for everybody else.
You got it, and you have to ask yourself, what is a cult? What makes a culture? And a culture is a living, breathing thing. And in Detroit, this fact that urban center and it's a highly diverse population, amazing things have been happening here for longer than our lifetimes. The innovation and the opportunity to create at a very high level, to create ensembles. You can do that in Detroit, but it feeds into the culture of who we are just as much as this program, 60 years, Detroit Public Television, and all the incredible legacies that make Detroit so very special. We really want to be part of that invention and that forward movement of who we are as a culture, and then we get to show it to the whole world via live streams. 1.5 million people, 320,000 in person. It's a real showcase for all of us, but it's really about sharing our culture.
Yeah. Sequoia, tell us about your music and your history here in Detroit, and how exciting it must be to be on the docket at the Jazz Fest.
Yeah. My history in Michigan started in college. I went to Michigan State for my undergrad degree and my master's degree as well. So throughout that time, I spent a lot of time in Detroit, as much as I could, actually.
Yeah.
I was in Detroit just trying to play, just trying to take in the wonderful culture, like Chris said. And, I don't think there's one single factor that's been more integral to my development as an artist. So
than being in Detroit.
Then being in Detroit,
yeah.
Then getting to play in Detroit, grow in Detroit. I started my band here. So anybody who knows me knows how much I love Detroit. I'm not from Detroit,
Yeah.
but I claim Detroit as one of my hometowns. I'm from DC, so obviously a huge part of who I am. But I mean, Detroit is the city for me that's, you know, supported me and taken me in since I was, you know, still a kid basically. So it's super exciting for me to be able to bring my music to the Detroit Jazz Fest. I've gotten the opportunity to play there several times, but this is like really special to me. And the festival is always my favorite time of the year. It's always one of my favorite experiences, you know, in the years I've been alive. So I'm really excited and grateful.
Talk a little more about the music that you make, what inspires it, and why people love it.
So as I said, I studied jazz studies, Rodney Whitaker, so my music's coming out of jazz for sure. I love jazz music, but I also love all black music. I love all types of music, so there's a lot of, I came up listening to a lot of R&B, gospel, hip hop, even rock, which I'm getting a lot more into now. So I'm always just trying to make something that sounds and feels good. I don't think too much about I'm gonna make a jazz song, I'm gonna make a fusion song, but I do find that all of these different elements come out in my music, and I think people enjoy that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think music is not you can't divide music into genres, right? Music is music. It's a language, and you can kind of run across it with all kinds of different beats and notes and things like that. Jocelyn, Joe Lewis, you are the person who created the Jazz Fest poster this year. I should note that it is standing there, and in a minute I'm going to ask Chris to have a big unveil of your work. But talk about, before we see it, sort of who you are and how you kind of come to this work, this really significant work now with the Jazz Festival.
Thank you. I'm a Detroit native, born and raised. Right now, I'm actually a student at Florida State University. I'm getting my PhD in museum curation at the moment. And a lot of my research is about Black culture and Black history and all the different type of connections to the dysphorias. So I'm really interested in those things, and it really does come out in a lot of my artwork. And how I approach this, usually I'm a fabric artist or mixed media artist, but this time I wanted to have, again, like a more jazzy feel, like total like abstract or semi-abstract. So I used a lot of different shapes and tried not to keep it so like figure inclusive, just like going with the wind and like just feeling the embodiment of what jazz would be. So I'm really excited about the poster reveal.
Let's go to the moment when you knew you were creating this for the Jazz Festival. What was kind of the first thought you had about what you wanted to capture with that work?
I think my first thought was the actual expression of what I think jazz feels like. I used to live in Brooklyn not too long ago, and we would always go to jazz nights and being really encapsulated into the music. And I really feel like jazz is like a thing you have to put your whole body into to express. So when I was making this piece, I really wanted that to come off into the piece. Like the person is the music and expressing themselves. Well,
that's a great introduction to the unveil here. Chris, do you want to do the honors?
I am excited about this. Super special.
This is always my favorite moment on the show.
Do we have a drum roll?
I know. We don't have a good drummer here.
Here we go. The 2026 Detroit Jazz Festival poster by the great Joe Lewis.
Oh, look at that. I love that.
Yeah.
My goodness. I can see, of course, notes and instruments and people. The person figure there is super interesting as well. Talk us through this poster.
Yeah, like I stated before, I really wanted the person to be a part of the actual instrument, the music, the embodiment of like the sound. And so a lot of these shapes go into each other, they overlap. they express some type of emphasis, and they have a lot of like sharp tones or a lot of different lines, but also like some curvature where it shows like the smoothness. And yeah, I really wanted the person to be a part, very much a part of the sound.
Yeah, the person's kind of wrapped around all of the.
Yeah, I wanted the instrument to be with the person, like in the person. So yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Beautiful piece.
Thank you.
When you're making your art, how much does your history here in Detroit, do you think, influence what you're doing?
It influences it all the time.
It does.
A lot of my artwork is really much about Black culture and what we bring to the world, like how we express ourselves, our creativity, our beauty, and I love to highlight that. I really want my people and also Detroit people to see themselves reflected in my artwork. So I think my artwork has exchange where a person looking at it can really feel the experience and like be very familiar, like, oh, I grew up like that. I know what that's about, and yeah, something to really feel connection to. I think sometimes, you know, people might not feel as connected to certain artworks, but I know with my artwork, I would love for people who look like me and also Detroiters to really see themselves in my artwork as well. Yeah.
Chris, talk about this wonderful poster. Every year the poster's great, but
we're so fortunate, and we've had artists from around the world. So Joe joins a very elite group of people. There's only 47 of these, and each one is about finding an artist to do a piece of artwork, not a graphic poster for information, but an artwork that we can celebrate that captures the spirit. And we reached out, as we often do, did an open call to artists in the Detroit area, and people send their ideas in. Many great artists, different medium, but it's typical that I'll come across one that really speaks to the current, and in this case, as a musician, the feeling that all, you know, jazz it's all, everything's wrapped and intertwined at the communication, and yet it can change and be interpreted from different perspectives, and it captures it in every sense of the word, and is very unique in its perspective and coloration and design from previous posters. It's really going to stand out as a singularity.
Yeah. Sequoia, I wonder what you see in this art about that might connect with your art, the music.
Yeah, I love it. I think, like Chris said, the colors really speak, like the different colors and how everything's kind of intersecting. I feel that jazz has so much interaction and just kind of unspoken communication and just so much interconnectedness, which I see, and I love how it's a bit abstract. It's not something that it's not something cliche that you would see, but at the same time you're able to interpret it and connect to it, which is something I try to accomplish with my music too. Like, I don't want it to be normal, right, or something you would expect, but I also want you to be able to nod your head and feel it. So
you want to see yourself in it, or feel yourself, or hear yourself in it.
Absolutely, yeah. So I feel
if
that.
If you cross your eyes a little bit, you can see the Starship Enterprise. I know.
So Chris, talk about the kind of state of the festival. Things have changed a lot since the streaming, I feel like, has just kind of blown this up in a way that maybe we didn't expect.
Yeah, it was about 15 years ago, and we took some funds that somebody talked about doing a strategic plan. I said, I've done a lot of strategic plans. Let's get into this streaming thing. And so we developed a great relationship with Detroit Public Television and others, and got through all the hardships of learning how to use technology. So by the time COVID hit, as you probably remember, we were the only festival. We did a 40-hour broadcast on safe stages. We built, 7 miles of fiber optics. And then now we've curtailed it. And so it supports all of our we do international exchange programs, youth programs, and you can see all that culminate at the festival. But the streaming has helped with 1.5 to 2 million viewers. I think it's 30,000 watchable hours last year in 38 countries or something.
Wow.
It supports that. And to your point earlier, it becomes another avenue for us to be ambassadors of this city, and for people to understand the beauty of Detroit and what's coming from here, and that's so important. And it's important because if you can't get to the festival, or if you're accessible, if you have accessibility challenges, you have access to every single show. DetroitJazzFest.org has all the information, and in fact, the new footprint, the nice part is everything's on the same plane in Hart Plaza, and you make your way up to the Valade Center in the evening. It's going to be great. But we also, because we've closed the festival to keep it secure, we're no longer allowing coolers, which is a big change in our culture.
Right.
But it's a necessity in today's world, so we hope everyone understands. But there are a few things like that, but for the most part, it's just going to be a rocking good time.
Yeah. Talk a little about the Valade Center too, which is what, 3 years, 4 years now?
Just about, and in fact, we're opening Dee Dee Bridgewater's, which is the club venue on the lower level. Dee Dee, of course, is here at the festival, so I'm sure she'll be there, and Wayne State will be doing something special for that. So it's two venues, Dee Dee Bridgewater's club in the basement, like a super hip Detroit jazz club. Upstairs, Detroit Jazz Hall, specifically designed acoustically for jazz. Everything, stages, instruments were hand selected. The seating is special, and those shows remain free. They're the Midtown After Hours specials, start at 10:30 in the evening. Doors open 9:30, and they go till about midnight or so. A lot of stuff, but it's really the last beautiful gift of Miss Valade to all of us.
Yeah, and the importance of having a space that's dedicated to jazz and Detroit in this way. I mean, it's kind of hard when I'm in there. It's kind of hard to imagine that we didn't have it for as long as we did.
Well, people build such places. Oftentimes, jazz, you get kind of the second best piano and the second or third best drum. Miss Valade, she really wanted to have a place that equaled everything, and it's a testament to Wayne State too, and their understanding of the urban center and what's needed to do these things on the highest possible level, and provide for musicians a venue that's a hall where 340 seats, it's fillable, it sounds amazing, and you're not trying to fill 2,000 seats in a venue that really wasn't designed for jazz. This is a unique entity in the world, and I think it'll become an important gravity point.
Yeah, we've got about a minute left.
Yeah.
I want to just emphasize again the free aspect of this. I just think that is so important, and there just are not a lot of festivals that are able to do that, but this has always been a free.
It has. It's a very important part of who we are and who the city is, and accessibility is the key for everyone to be able to enjoy the music they love. But man, there's a reason no one else is doing it at the premier level.
It's really hard. It's not a given, right?
Nearly $5 million a year. There's no money from the sky, and that's why we have our Keep It Free campaign and ask people if they can donate $1 when they can or more. It makes a difference, or become an angel of jazz, because these things are the only way that our grandchildren are going to be able to go down to the festival for free. If we can't do it that way, cat's going to come along and say $20 at the gate, and problem solved. But problem created for a lot of other people.
Okay, well, Chris, it's always great
Same.
to catch up with you about the festival. Sequoia, was really great to have you here. We'll look forward to your performance.
Thank you.
And Joe Lewis, what a great piece of art that you've created for this.
Thank you.
Thanks to all three of you for being here.
Pleasure, Stephen.
Thank you.
Thank you.